All right, so let's get started. To everybody here and everybody watching, welcome. My name is Kirk and Arvind, and this is a virtual coffee event, a bit like our lunch and learns, but in this case, this is part of our virtual coffee 5-year anniversary week, leading up to our first ever virtual coffee remote conference. This is something we've been wanting to put together for some time. A bunch of awesome folks have put their efforts and heads and time together to make this happen, and we're really excited about it. And one of the things we wanted to do as we got ready for the conference is just sort of highlight a lot of the things that make this community great, that have made this community great. And one of those is members just having the platform to talk and speak and discuss topics that they're interested in, to share info, to share tutorials and demos. And we're kind of doing an example of that today. Here we have Arvind, who is just one of our awesome members, super smart young man who's doing a lot of amazing things in the world of DevRel and has taken the time to give us sort of an intro to the world of AI tools. At this point, AI has become a large part of the language in the tech community. It's whether you plan on using it or not, I would say it's probably worth knowing a little bit about it, what's out there, how it works, and how that might impact your work or your capacity. So I'm really appreciating Arvind for giving me the rundown on this. For context, I've been in software for almost 10 years now. I have very limited experience with AI tools beyond just GitHub Copilot. So I'm coming in this with fully fresh eyes to this space, and I'm really just here to see what's going on. So the plan for us is we're gonna hopefully get to look at probably 2 workflows. We've decided to maybe take a step in looking at something that doesn't involve code at all, or at least traditional editor-based coding. And then we have time, we might jump back to some of the more powerful code-assisted AI tools and see where we can get there. But really, it's going to be an exploration. So I can't promise we'll get to everything. We'll see where questions lead, but mainly it's an exploratory space. Arvind's going to be sort of the person guiding me throughout this process, and should be a lot of fun. If anybody here is watching and you have questions, you can drop them in chat. We'll try to address it. Feel free to pop in at any time some part of this piques your interest. But beyond that, let's just try and have a good time as we get ready for our conference in a couple days. Arvind, I will hand it over to you, and maybe you want to give us a little intro of the tool we're using and what we plan on doing with it today. Also, let me know if you want to share screen or if I should share screen. Either one, we can make it work.
Kirk, you can share screen and I will then guide you.
Okay.
So, hi everyone, I'm Arvind. I'm currently working as founding AI engineer and developer relations at Build Cloud. And in my job, I mostly try out new AI tools and I make projects and I create video courses out of it. Today, we are going to try Gumloop. Gumloop is a no-code AI automation tool. It's an alternative to Zapier and Nathan and Raven's AI AirOps. And I like Gumloop because its UI is very responsive as compared to Zapier or Nathan, and it has the free tier. While in Zapier, they give you free tier for 1 month or 15 days. After that, you have to create a paid account. But in Gumloop, you can do a lot of stuff in free tier. So that's why we are going to explore this tool today. So this is the template. So today we are going to create a workflow in which we have a type form in which user can submit their feedback or their answers, and based on when we got all the answers, we will run this workflow to create a one-page summary report of the form. So for that, we are going to use this flow. So Kirk, just click on begin
In
customizing this
customizing,
template. Yeah.
awesome. And I'll add the context. When we were talking about this earlier, we had also considered the idea that, like, as we're going to be doing this conference, maybe a good sort of like a good target to hit would be, can we like figure out a template, maybe to gather feedback from the folks who participate in the conference, at least as sort of like a North Star to get into like the features we want from the tool. So yeah,
So
so okay, I've clicked it here. I see a
so
pretty
first thing
large
you
canvas.
have to do, you have to clone this template
Okay,
because currently
that
you
makes
can't
sense.
run. You can see the run is disabled. In the left side of run, there is a arrow button. You have to click that.
Hold on, let me do some fun screen movement. Okay, so
Yeah,
clone, let's do that. Okay, so am I now looking at the cloned one or the original one?
it's the clone one.
Actually, okay. What do
Yeah,
we
you can
have
see
here?
because
Okay, alerts, add info
that arrow
tools,
button is
share.
changed to a save button like this.
I see. Gotcha.
And you can rename the file. You can do that in the top left side, or we can leave it also. It's fine. So
Mm, Okay, let's
this,
leave it for now.
so
Actually,
this
no.
whole
Let's see.
thing, this
What was
whole
it about
thing
the
we call this flow, and the individual thing like the you are seeing a violet box and an orange box, we call it a node. So when we connect all
Okay.
these nodes together, we call this the flow income loop.
Okay. So
And
theoretically, you can have, and tell me if I'm jumping ahead. Um, is it possible to have branching flows? Is that part of this system? Would that like represent like
uh,
optional pages?
yes,
Okay.
you can do if else, and you can also create subflow, and you can use that flow in another flow, like the nested flow.
Okay. Is hmm, so does that mean that I could work on this here, start a whole new one somewhere else, and then sort of like embed that one in this one? Or do they all have to like exist in the same sort of like top level
Mm,
structure?
no, no, you can embed it in another file.
Okay. So that
So
already
then
feels
it will
like
look like this. The like in the top, you can see there is a purple box, but it
right.
can be a whole subflow that you can define in another file. And then when you hover over it, it will redirect you to that subflow.
Interesting.
And
Um,
that you might ask like how we add this box. So like if you click on the plus button in the left side, a menu will appear, and in the library
oh,
you can look for different tools that you can add in each section. You can search about it, and after that, in the right, the Ask Me section, you can actually write AI prompt like I want this workflow, then it will give you all the steps along with the which node to use.
I do have to say, when I was sort of like when you sent me the links earlier and I was taking a peek, I am more impressed than I expected. Or I don't know if I had any expectations. Like this to me is kind of the best part of the UI. Um, just in the sense of like all of these extensions, if I was just sort of like going about this on my own and I know I want a thing, I don't exactly know how, it feels like there's so much ease of use just like here without even having to kind of go through the manual process. So I think this part to me is like the most impressive part. And that's a weird thing to say because I guess this part isn't AI, right? Like whatever the team that's working on this has like really like pulled out what are the
Yeah,
common things that people actually want. And I would kind of want something like this everywhere. Like I kind of wish like even Google surveys or like the other ones had something like this. I know they can't, but yeah, no, I think this part's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. S- So, and in the Ask Me, you can use AI to like ask anything, and it will give you the node along with the steps. So, using that, you can create your custom workflow if you want. Now you can close this the left side because it is taking a little bit of space. Yeah. So our first node is Typeform Submission Reader. Uh, you can hover over it. So like if you press the space bar and you can zoom,
So it's spacebar.
or if you have a mouse, you can do the scrolling and it will be zoomed if you are using
There
a
we go.
yeah. And here you can see two arrow. Just click on that in the right side. Yeah,
What just happened? Oh, okay, I see. We can like
yeah.
we can
So yeah,
that's
click
interesting.
on it. First, you have to sign in with Typeform. So just connect it with the Typeform.
Oh, I see. Right, because like Gumloop itself doesn't handle,
Yeah.
huh. So they're sort of, well, I guess I don't know if they're exactly independent, but you can use Typeform without using Gumloop then.
Yes. And now we have to add the loop. We have to use add the Typeform form that I think we haven't created yet. So
Okay.
let's go to your Typeform account and we will add 4 or 5 questions.
So I think here, I'm going to close this because we have that open somewhere else. Okay, so I think this is my type form. So
I
just to reestablish, type form is specifically for like UI for making a bunch of form elements and sort of like bundling that together. And gum loops a thing running sort of like all the AI automation on those elements. Is there any AI in type form itself?
Yeah, there's AI in Typeform also to create the form.
Okay.
So you have created a form earlier, like my new form. If you want, we can use that, or we can create a new form from scratch.
Let's just start from here since we're already here. Mind you, I'll admit they just made this for me,
Uh,
but seems like a
or
good
we
place to
can do
begin.
one thing. Let's start from scratch, and we will use AI to create the time form.
Oh, I'm interested in that. Okay, so maybe
Just click on create a new form, and it gives you 3 options: start from scratch, import person, and we will use create with AI.
use for all forms. I'm going to click this one on the left, I think.
Yes,
Okay, and I think some
and
folks just popped
in
in.
yeah, only Becca joined.
Holy heck. So the idea, just to remind everybody, is um, Arvind's kind of showing me how to go through this AI survey and survey analysis flow using Gumloop and Typeform. And our initial premise was, hey, what would it look like if we wanted to make a post-conference feedback form? And how would that work? So he's attempting to navigate me through that setup. We're going to see if we have time to like seed it with some dummy data. And then I'm kind of excited to see what this thing spits out because the only AI I've used so far is GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. So I'm completely fresh to this environment. And so this is the part where I'm very specific about what I need and it understands what I'm asking for.
So yeah, here we can write a prompt like we did a online conference, and I want to create a feedback form for the conference with 5 or 10 questions. and just write the number of questions you want.
Capture feelings, feedback, suggestions, and favorite moment about the conference. Okay, let's give that a try. Does that
One
look?
thing, we want the 5% for us, but what we can do a trick, we can ask it to create the 10 or 15 questions. For
You
that,
think?
then we can choose the
Oh, I
5%.
see.
Otherwise, we have the option and we have to do the manual task.
Okay, let's go. Let's split them out. I want about a dozen. Let's start with 12. See where it goes from there. That is a question that I've had before with AI tools where I found if I ask them for like 5 responses, generally the quality of the 5 responses feels pretty high. But once I say like, oh, I want 30, 40, 50, I can see it start to struggle a little bit to generate, I don't know, like meaningful, unique inputs because it can't obviously like, hey man, that's too much. Um, so I started to become like weary about asking for too much, but as you said, like we can always like reduce down, I suppose.
Yeah, I always go for a large amount because it gives me options.
Uh, Topics
Uh,
to
you can
include.
you can skip also. It's an option. It's an optional field.
Okay, let's see what it does with that. That's my idea. So let's go. Crafting your questions. This may take up to a minute, but it's worth the wait. Sounds like a thing I tell my nephews.
So
Okay,
it has created these 12 questions.
all right. So we have them all. I'm assuming like these are all here on this side, and I'm guessing these UI, like this is describing the type. Okay, there we go. Let's see, opinion scale, ranking, email. Oh, this is nice. I kind of like this. Um,
Yeah.
how would you rate your overall experience? That seems perfectly reasonable. What was your favorite session? Spelt in a way I don't like, but that's fine. How likely are you to recommend this conference to a friend or colleague? Which aspect did you find most valuable? Technical issues, suggestions. Ooh, I like that one. Which country are you joining from? It seems cool. How are you satisfied? What was the highlight of the conference for you? Would you be interested? Uh, that's pretty neat. So let's see.
If you want,
I
we can go with the all 12 questions because it's just a demo.
right. So in the purpose of like putting some fake answers and then putting it back in gum loop, should we just like reduce the amount so it's easier to fill in? Or do you think we can just
Yeah,
like,
we
okay,
if we reduce it a little bit, maybe do it around 7 or 8, it would be good.
okay. So I'm gonna get rid of some of the long answer questions. I'll keep sort of like, I'll keep the options. And I really do like, I can just see at a glance exactly what everything is. Um,
But it's fine because it's a one-time effort for the workflow.
1, 2, 3.
Uh,
Okay, so we have about 7 now.
yeah, and just now you have to save the form.
Oh,
I
I
think
thought it auto
it's
saved.
yeah. I'm also not sure. Yeah, can you click on share button?
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's publishing. Just copy the link and open it in a incognito mode so we can test.
Okay, So I'm going to do this. I'm pretty sure you're not going to see this new window. So I'll do it and then I will reshare my screen so that like that's actually visible.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just for checking like the form is available to us or not.
With a new share.
You can.
One of these is the right one, and one of these is the screen that I just left. I believe I want some. Can you see that? My cursor moving
Yes.
around. There we go. Okay. 10, obviously. 11. This, I did check if this was a multi-select or not. Okay, it's not. That's fine. No. Did you participate in any virtual networking sessions during the conference? Yes. And we'll call this. So this, we'll call this like the most enthusiastic person in the world. And we'll hit submit.
Okay. So now our form is working fine. We can go to Gumroad and we can now connect it with the flow.
Here, oh, I've lost my window. Hold on.
Okay.
I need to stop it from being confused because I have two arc windows. So let's hide those meeting controls. And let's, are we going to come back to this one, do you think?
Yeah, we will
Okay.
only come back to the type form when you share the link to us so we can generate some fake response.
Okay, so I
Or
will
you
post
can,
that in chat now. I
yeah,
think that should work. And in the
we can.
meantime, let's jump back to gum loop.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back here.
So yeah, we have to add the form like the response limit. My workspace is the group test and the form. If you click on the arrow in the form, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, in this one, yeah, uh, yeah, is the test form, and just reload the whole page once because we just integrated and created a new form. That's why.
hold on, I need to,
But it should be showing the two form. One form you created earlier and one form we just created, and it's giving us only one option. That's why.
where are you seeing the one that we just made? Or how do I see the one that we just made? Oh, I
You
also,
just reload it once.
okay,
It will be auto load.
let's try a reload. Is that it? Okay, so how do we find the one that we just made? Oh, I was saying, I was going to give you um, remote control permissions. Maybe you can check that out. Okay, so I'm briefly going to give you remote permissions. Oh, I might have to enable that at some point. Okay, actually, I was trying to like give you permission to just like take over the screen, but Zoom is complaining a little bit. Actually, let me know if it's working for you.
It's showing you are controlling current screen, but not sure how to access it. I'm not sure how to access it. It's showing you are controlling current
Oh,
screen. But
okay, that's fine. I think I need to enable something. Let's see. So let's stop that for now. But yeah, I just need you to let me know exactly where we need to go next.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
the zoom a little bit to the node, and yeah, click on the test form and the arrow. Yeah, here in the inside the node, a little bit lower, like in the form. Yeah, and it's showing the test form. Let's find that. Let's just select it, and in the fields, click on the cross button, cross, and now it's still not showing uh, the form we created.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. I'm gonna do a quick refresh.
can you change the workspace? Yeah, I think it's the workspace. So yeah, it's same like above the form. Yeah, in the
Oh,
same node. Yeah, to my workspace, and now
there we
select the
go.
nodes.
Let's do a quick refresh maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe let's try Gumloop General. Hmm.
In the right side, it's showing credentials to use. Just click on the use personal default. Yeah, just click on it. Yeah, just click on it one time. Now click on form. It's
That's
weird.
interesting. I'm gonna quickly jump back to, I guess the accounts should be connected. My workspace, my new form. Let's
Can you go to
rename
my
it.
yeah to virtual coffee? Just rename it.
It's called VC form. Okay, so let's come back here. Let's do a refresh on the workspace.
Can you refresh it? Yeah, refresh the form also.
Yep, let's just do the whole thing. Oh, I also see David dropped in. Hey, David, we are just trying to, we're trying to do the thing that I'm always trying to do, which is get config to work. The AI part actually worked out really well, but
Yeah, now it's no, no. I change to my workspace. My workspace.
hmm,
Can you save Control S and then try again one time?
okay, save close.
In the form, there is a reload button right side of the form. Can you try that? In the same node, this,
Oh,
the arrow.
um,
Uh,
let's
in the
see.
form, yeah, is for the workspace. Same for the form itself. Form, yeah.
Aha!
Yeah.
Oh man, but we never find it, but we did. Okay,
And
workspace VC
now
form.
click on the field. Now
Oh,
select all the persons.
that's interesting. It just uses their entire names. Uh, okay.
So yeah, this step is completed. Now you can see it's connected to the next step. That's how we are accessing the input from first node to second node. And you can also connect the first node to the third node directly to access the data of first node in the third node. Otherwise, in sequential mode, you can't access the input of first node in the third node. So you have to connect them directly. Currently, it's a single flow. So yeah, just go zoom the combined text flow,
All right.
zoom more, and you can see like after the question one and colon, just remove the data. Yeah, that the data part.
Just take this out like that.
Yeah, yeah, same for two and three.
Interesting.
since we have 7 questions, we can add like question 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we can add those input.
So we're just going to do this again for questions 4 through 7.
Yes.
Very interesting. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
And now click on the first input and drag it to question 1. Yeah.
Oh.
Same second to yeah.
Okay. For a second, I was like, oh, where are we going to go with this? But I see.
So if we don't connect the node, we can't access those inputs. So yeah, this
Okay.
step is done. This step is done also. Now go to join list item node.
So that step was just like, hey, we need to, we have like 7 responses. We need to like change the data format into just one large response for it to perform the analysis. It can only perform the analysis on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you can
so
scroll. It's already accessing the input from the second node, either combined text list. So we don't have to change anything. But you
anything
can
here. Okay.
one thing I want to show you, you are seeing the join by new line. If
Yes.
you
Uncheck
just
it.
uncheck it, so you will get other
Oh,
options. So you can
interesting.
join them
Okay.
by any characters. But if you don't want any character, just check the join by new line and the character part will be gone. Yeah.
I guess this is also useful if you have to end up using this data in like some other thing, because like depending on whether like this is going into Excel or R, they all have like their different like input conditions. So that seems really useful.
Yeah.
Not for us right now, but in general.
Now in
Oh,
the Ask AI part, if you scroll to the prompt,
yeah.
we have to change the prompt here.
Yes. Okay, so we use the prompt to make the form. Now we're using a prompt to analyze the form. Um, what do I want to ask? Uh, generate a report that summarizes
I think the
the.
last prompt was good. We can alter that prompt also, but it's fine. We can write a new prompt. What is
I can generate a report that summarizes the um, feedback of the attendees of the virtual coffee tech conference. I don't know if it needs any more than that. I mean, I'm sure we could get more layered and ask for specific analysis. Oh, maybe let's see how it gets with this. I want to ask this.
and
How
also write like
likely?
generate a concise one-page report summarizing key insight, trends, and learnings.
Well, return. Can you type what you said in the chat and I'll paste it in?
Yeah. Let's add this in the last line.
Oh, I see. I think this is also another thing I've had to learn about AI tools. Initially, I kept assuming that they would be bad at nuance. So I would keep my prompts like almost vaguer than they needed to be. And it was later on, I'm like, oh, specificity is generally better, and I should be giving them more details, not
Yeah.
less.
Also, two more thing. You can see we are accessing the data of last input here, like the join text. And in the Source AI model, if you click on that, you can access all the model you can use. And actually, you
Oh,
don't have to like use your own API key, but you can use any of the model here.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's quite a bit. That's way more than I thought. I'll I'll leave it at the default, but that is good to know. Um,
And now, yeah, if you go, yeah, scroll a bit.
so
Uh,
for these two.
Here we don't have to change anything, but we can go like the output flow is outputting the response from the Ask AI node, and its name is output, and the output type is a string that you can change. And the right side, the generate file, you can change the file name, and if you click on the file type, there are a lot of options.
Um, oh, that's convenient. Okay, so one side for basically the API consumption, and then another side for like an actual endpoint.
Yeah, the
Uh,
first one will give you the raw output, second one will generate a PDF.
hmm, HTML.
So
So I guess you could just use this if you had to embed this somewhere. That's pretty neat. What other options do we have? Write as Markdown. We should click yes. What is output link? Oh, that's also really convenient.
I think we don't want this, the link part.
Okay.
And now one thing, now we have to like submit the form multiple times. You submitted it once, let me do it one time.
Okay. So
Mm.
yes, we don't have to show this because we already did it. So you're just gonna put a bunch of dummy data into that form. So we'll have a
Yeah,
couple responses to work with. So I'd
and I will
suggest,
give some low suggestions,
yes,
like low.
yeah, we can get some variance because I think I hit the highest value for everything. So we can mess around with it. And I'll do one last recap, depending on where folks are joining in for this. So far, we've been taking a look at combining Gumloop with Typeform to do AI automated, well, forms and surveys. We've been walking through how to just do the entire virtual coffee conference feedback form if we just had to be using AI tools. So I believe we went to Typeform. We used AI to generate the form almost in its entirety. And afterwards, we made a few like manual edits. Then we went back to Gumloop, and now we're basically putting it through the process of, hey, collect the data from this form. Here's a prompt for the analysis that I want. And here's some configurations on where I want that to go and exactly how I want it to look like. Uh, I will say from the onset, having to jump through the two of them seems a little intimidating. In actual usage, I can see how this is actually pretty convenient. So I'm pleasantly surprised by that.
So yeah, I have submitted form two more time. So
Okay,
just click on the flow and save the flow,
okay, let's say once more.
and just click on run.
And let's see what happens. Oh, it's almost like a deployment record. Feels like
Yeah,
DevOps.
you can see. First, let's download the PDF.
Okay, we've got a file in there.
If you don't want to open the PDF, we can also see the output in that UI. So in the output section, yeah, before the generated file, just click on the see all inputs and outputs,
Oh,
and in the response, open the bar. Yeah, there's an arrow on response. Just open it.
oh, and this is the raw markdown. Okay, hey, virtual coffee tech conference feedback reports. And let's check on this. Let's go through a series of survey questions, key insights, positive overall experience. Average score 7.67. High likelihood of returning. Interesting. People like breakout sessions, keynote speaker, logistical feedback. No notable negative feedback was recorded. Continued improvement. Okay, and this is where it like gets into its like very AI thing.
Yeah.
The question,
And
well, we have like about 7 minutes left. One question I had was, so we just like did this with 3 responses. It'd be interesting for me to see what this looked like with like triple digit, quadruple digit numbers. The one thing I've found so far with a lot of AI tools is that they are not actually good at statistics. Like they're good at like statistical ideas, but if I ask it to actually do, and I suppose like maybe something like Julia would be better suited. But if I ask something like this AI tool to go, hey, I want the actual values for certain statistical methods, I'm not sure if it could accomplish that accurately.
for Gumlook, I'm not sure because I haven't tried it yet. Tried it
Yeah.
in the Gumlook. You have to look. But in Julia's AI, it's mostly for the data analysis.
Okay.
So you can do any statistical thing there. And
Maybe that might
based
be my
on
problem.
the output, the 2 time, one time I give a score of 4 and one time I give a score of 5. So it's taking that. And for the returning, I said I will return to both of the time.
Right. So let's see. If you gave a score of 4 and 5, I give a score of 10. Um, so in total, that's 19. But it's saying the average score across responses was 7.67. So like see, like this is the general theme of this is really good. I'm not sure how this number came to be. Um, I don't know. It'd be interesting to like double check these numbers. I thought this number would be like somewhere in the 6 point something range, like 6.33.
Yeah. Also, one time I give the 4, next time I'm not sure I am 5 or not. But I gave a low score.
Okay. But yeah, no, so like this is usually where this whole process for me was a lot more straightforward than I thought it would be. And I suppose the thing that always surprises me of AI tools is how little I can say and kind of like get a lot out of it. Um, the part I'm always wary about is whenever it gives me like a specific number, like fees. That's when I have to like make sure I double check, like, is this actually the number that I want? So I'm really interested to test out Julia. If it's if it's really good at that, that's like a big hurdle for like me and like using AI tools more. Just like I feel like I can never trust the numbers. So I always end up having to kind of like do the math myself anyway, which from a well, this saves me a bunch of time perspective. I'm like, oh well, I still have to do all of this. But this general flow has been really impressive, and I really like this AI, this UI, now that I've kind of gotten used to it.
Yeah. And now, two more quick thing. If you like in the current run, the data, if you scroll up, you can see the output of every step, like what data is generating at each
Oh,
step, not just the flow, but at each step.
that is okay. So, so 4, 4, and 5, 4, 5, and 10. Okay, so we can see all the responses. Um, I guess we can see what the combined texts look like for each person, which makes sense on each submission. And here, what am I going to see here? Okay, so this is where it like just translates it into a single string. And then finally, well, this is the input, this is the response. That's kind of cool.
And for that 7.67, we can actually check based on the data we gave, like how it's generating it.
Um, no, this isn't the one I want. I think this is the one I want. Question 1, 2, 4, 5, 10. I leave ratings from 4 to 10. It got so like this is correct. 4 to scale on the scale of 1 to 10. The average score. Oh, maybe I'm just being silly. And I'm not going to try and do math on camera because that's how I go wrong about things. Uh, but no, looking at this whole thing overall, I think the only part of this that feels kind of rough around the edges is just the fact that like I have to leave gum loop to go to type form, and then come back to gum loop, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal. And if I wasn't using an AI tool, I would have to do that anyway. Like my survey tool and my like survey analysis tool are never the same. Um, I just wonder if in the future it would be nice if like they could just both happen in the same place. Um, but I don't know.
You can actually do that. Have you heard about the term MCP, Model
No.
Context Protocol? People are talking a lot about it in like X and LinkedIn. So like you
Mm,
have the cloud chat. If you write in the prompt like just go and create a type form, it will actually go and create a type form for you without you going and doing it manually.
interesting.
And
Um,
like same thing is also like Lovable applied. Lovable is an alternative to V0. So if you go and tell like create a database, it's actually go and it create the database in Superbase, and then it will fill the dummy data. You have to just connect it with your Superbase account, and rest it will do it on its own.
I suppose, I guess maybe that's always a feature advantage of AI. Like if you have I don't know what else to call it, but like if you have a layer that's like manual, I suppose there's always the possibility of using AI at that layer to automate that manual process. Um, Obviously the implementation is like way more messy than I'm describing it, but when it works, it looks like magic. And I'm trying to think, so this took us about 45 minutes. Mind you, that's 45 minutes of like one person telling another person what to do on information on an interface they're not familiar with. If I was to do this all again on my own, probably like 5 minute process. Um,
Yes, you
Now,
have to just know your tool, but the resting is very quick.
yeah, if I had to make this survey, the survey part probably could have gotten that out pretty quick. Still more time because I would have had to put every question in by hand and like tweak responses. Um, but the second part, obviously, where it's just like, hey, I want this stuff like that's a lot for me. Um, and I think like this ability to summarize and condense and just like pull out insights really quickly is very impressive. uh, I, I I still feel kind of validated in the whole like devil in the details with like some of these figures. But that's probably something that a lot of people are working on solving. I've heard a little bit from like some of the OpenAI folks on like the things that they're trying to tackle next do have to do with like the precision of inputs. But we still live in a world of use AI but verify. Like it's still there's still no guarantees here. You still have to
Yeah.
like do your due diligence and make sure that like what has been output makes sense. Even this report, another thing I've sort of like realized, you can always ask AI for more information than it necessarily has the data to provide, and it will attempt to answer that. Uh, I don't know if the models will ever get to a point like it just feels like a frequent danger where you can ask it for things and then it really doesn't have enough context to give an answer, but it's going to try anyway. I've seen some of the open AI models say like they have some hard breaks on them for a few things, but I feel like those have been very explicitly like programmed in there by the developers. The AI is not capable of detecting when like, oh no, I can't do this.
Yes. That's why
But
we are hearing like the senior engineers are becoming more valuable and the junior engineer are becoming less valuable
no,
because
this is
senior actually knows when to take decision.
but no, I actually think this was amazing. And I think free. And obviously, like you explained, like the limits of their APIs and if you're using this like seriously professionally, then there is like this is a paid service.
Yeah.
But
So in the right side, in the bottom, you can see you only use 21 credits and you got 1000 credits every month.
yeah, no, I could see this being a huge just for I could see this being like a real benefit for folks who are in the need of these types of services every so often. It's not their core business product, but even a small business who's just looking to do some like yearly financial reports or a few monthly reports, this could be really valuable. I feel like the big thing is also just there's still there's still trepidation by most folks for getting into a tool like this. Like if I just saw this out the box, a lot of people get a little skeptical. So maybe with time, people become a little more trustworthy of themselves in interacting with these tools. But we're just about at time. So I think this is probably a good time to do a quick wrap up. Um, First off, to all those who are watching with us, thank you for joining. For anybody who's watching this later, after this goes up online, thank you for taking a look as well. Mainly, thank you, Arvind, for showing this to me. This was really cool, and I was kind of nervous about it because I'm like, am I just going to mess around? And then it's just 20 minutes of me not knowing what to do next. But um, you were very helpful with your guidance, and the interface was easier than I thought. We had a little bit of trouble getting the two synced together, but we kind of diagnosed that, and that's just like part and parcel of attempting any sort of integration. And now I have a couple of projects in my head that I might want to mess around with this and see. I want to push the boundaries of what I can ask it for a little bit more. And I kind of want to see where it goes. So maybe I will report to you a little bit as my homework on could I do something cool with it? I have this idea for a game that I play where a bunch of people love saying things without proof about what they think is better or worse. And I would love to be able to take some data and actually just like test it out. Like, hey, you're wrong. I would love to tell people on the internet that they're wrong. In the meantime, I want to say thank you again. And yeah, to all those watching, this is again part of our lead up to our first ever virtual coffee remote tech conference. And we look forward to seeing you there. That is happening on Friday, the 25th. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd at the time of recording. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out, and we will see you soon.